Hi, and welcome to LIPI Presents Real Ghost Hunting, the Reveal Show. Today is, I believe, episode 6, Sagtakos Manor. And if you haven't yet, you can click the little card above to watch the episode and see all about it. Now, this was an episode that we did not intend to be an episode, as you saw when the episode aired. It was the end of the investigation, just so much shit had happened. We were like, this is it. You know, Mike's like, this is an episode. So, you know, at the end of the episode, we did a quick intro and then cut back to the beginning, and you guys saw everything that happened. And again, like I said, if you haven't, click the link that just popped up, and then you guys can watch it as well. It was a fun investigation for sure. But Tom, tell us about the history of Sag Manor.
So, Sagtakos Manor, been around for over 300 years.
Yep.
Actually goes back to late 1600s, early 1700s. A lot of history, and prior to that, the land was owned by the Sagtakos tribe of Native Americans. So there's native history there as well. House was occupied by the British during the Revolutionary War, and it's one of the few places that we can actually say with a lot of certainty George Washington actually stayed there, because it was actually in his personal diary that he stayed there in 1790, I believe it was. So a lot of history there. As far as haunted history, there's been a lot of reports over the years of shadow people, strange noises, screams, weird lights and orbs. There's even a report of an Indian woman that supposedly haunts the ground still. People have seen her walking through the area at night. So a lot of stuff going back, not only historically but possibly haunted. So a lot of stuff going there.
I know that there's an urban myth that supposedly says that there was an assassination attempt on George Washington at the location. Mm-hmm. There's no proof of that. It's just one of the urban myths and legends of the location.
And the house was fired upon during the war. There's actually still a musket ball hole in one of the stairways inside.
So. Nobody knows if he stayed there during his tour of Long Island, during his meetings with the Culper Spy Ring or anything like that.
They say
I'm not sure where that falls.
They claim that he stayed at Sag Manor.
Right.
Who knows? I don't really know. I know he toured Long Island. He was in the area. I don't know if he actually stayed at Sagtakos Manor or not, but people do claim that he did. So, who knows?
And as far as how it got onto our radar and we started investigating there, I'll let Mike say that.
So, this was fresh when we first started. We started in 2003, and always looking for new locations. And I remember Mosin. We go to the beach a lot, and it was at Robin Moses, which isn't far from Sagtakos Manor in Bayshore. And I remember I didn't go that day, and Mo went to the beach, and he came back, and he's like, "Yo, you gotta check out this place." And what is it? He's like, a place called Sagtakos Manor, we gotta check it out. So we did a day trip there. The next day we shot over there, and I was super intrigued. You pull in, and you got the huge house right there, historical markers right on the front property. You pull in, there's just huge grounds, there's a carriage house in the back, then you have the garden on the left-hand side, and then there's a hidden, family plot cemetery right in there too. So you got the best of all worlds at this point. And that's kind of how we stumbled upon it. He found it, he brought it to the group, and I think a week later, we were in there the first time. And I'm going to turn it back over to you guys, talking about this specific investigation.
So this investigation actually took place on August 3rd. That's when we investigated. It was during an overnight. We were out for the night just hitting a whole bunch of different locations. We just happened to go to Sag Manor.
I'm going to jump in on that.
Yeah, go ahead. The precursor to why we ended up going there.
So a couple weeks prior, so this was in August? Yeah, a couple weeks prior, we were actually driving to, we were doing a trip. I think we were going to York, I think it was. And my cousin, that used to be in the group back then in 05 and 06, calls me out of nowhere, and he's like, have you guys been at Sag Manor recently? And I'm like, no, we haven't been there in years, we just haven't gone there in a while. And he's like, I just had a crazy dream about Sag Manor. So I was just wondering if you guys went there. And I'm like, no, we haven't been there. I was like, we'll go now that you're calling me. We'll see what happens, and I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know. And that specific night, we were doing an overnight.
Yep.
But we were trying to, Sagtakos Manor is in Suffolk County. We were trying to do a full-blown overnight in Nassau County.
Mm-hmm.
First two locations we go to, they happen to be two cemeteries, bust. Giant signs, no trespassing, violators, will be prosecuted. We don't usually mess with stuff like that. So then we went to our next location, which was good.
Yeah,
After that, we went to another place called Massapequa Park Preserve. And as we're walking on the pathway, not too far, we're there maybe 10 minutes. One of the guys in the group says, I think this place was on the news not too long ago about, one of the gangs dropped a body here. And sure enough, we're like, all right, turn the phone on, take a look. We look it up, and sure enough, we're like, all right, let's get the hell out of here. So we leave that, and then we go to, I'm like, all right, let's just go to a location. I know no one's going to bother us. It's not on our list for tonight, but I know it's safe. At least we get another place in.
Right. So
we go there, and they have like these benches outside. So we're sitting down towards the end of that investigation, and we're like, should we just call it a bus? Should we call it a night? And I'm like, you know what? We still got some time. Let's just go to SAG. I know we're supposed to be doing a Nassau County one. Let's just go to SAG. Let's just end there. Screw it. What we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
So we go to SAG. Turn it back over to you.
And now we're here, and it was Mike, myself, Brandon, Tom, James, and a former member of the group. We were there for a little over an hour.
Sure.
It was literally as daylight was coming upon us because it was the end of our overnight, like Mike was saying. Ghost weather station was normal, no weird readings. Everything was quiet there. We had a couple of thermometers out, our shack and the peak. Those were all normal, no hot or cold spots. We had a barometer. That was in normal range as well, nothing crazy. Energy loss meter was fine. Static meter was good. We used a DX2 Geiger counter. That didn't go off. And then we get into our EMF meters and our radio frequency meters. The electrosmog, the electrosensor, the K2 meter, the tri-field meter, the REM pod, all these things went nuts. Nuts. It wasn't really timed. It was kind of random in like the bursts that we would get hits. It was, I don't even know how to explain it. I remember us talking, and I forget, I said something to you, and we're like just trying to figure out like, why is this happening? I'm like, is there a plane over? Is there a cell tower? What the hell is happening?
We took that at one point. There was another team in there.
We thought, yeah, we did, because at one point you literally hear the sound of a REM pod going off in the distance when ours wasn't going off. Mm-hmm. We all audibly heard it. There was 6 of us there that night, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us there that night. All of us heard this REM pod in the distance. We thought we had a free REM pod. And no,
I remember that.
Or we thought we were going to rumble with another...
something, because then I saw shadows, too, running around the corner, and then I go chasing into the garden with, I think, Brandon at the time, or was it you and me? I can't even remember.
Me and you went into the garden.
We went to the garden. And then I walked with Brandon at one point, but it was just like, as soon as you and me left, we were still getting, like, I think we had walkie interference as well.
Yep.
And stuff like that, and then, but when we left, you guys all died. You guys had nothing happen. But as soon as we came back, it was really weird.
Yep.
None of our phones were on us. They were in the cars, turned off. We don't take them on us on investigations, especially me and Mike.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, and it was the tri-field meter. The needle was erratic. It literally hit 100.
Yeah.
I very rarely have seen that meter hit 100.
And it all spiked at the same time. Like towards the end of the night, at one point we had everything gathered around. We were in the cemetery, and everything just spiked all at the same
You
time.
had the tri-field K2s maxed out. The electrosmog was maxed out. REM pod was going off. So, it was
electrosensor.
Wild.
Yeah.
It was wild. Something I've not witnessed there yet.
And while we typically only talk about the investigation and we go into what we're doing, but like we went back the next week.
we went back the next week because we needed to know. Because prior to this investigation, I'm looking at our file now. The last time we were there was in September of 2016.
Right.
So you're talking three and a half years ago. So we're like, all right, did they put a radio tower in the area that we just don't know about?
Yeah.
You know, 3.5 years passed by. A lot changes on Long Island. So we thought, all right, you know what? Yeah, this night was crazy. We can't explain stuff. Let's go back a week later with the team. Thursday night, let's bring it all plus. Yep. We brought, I don't think we had the Zap Checker that night on this investigation.
We had everything.
We brought out the Zap Checker.
Everything.
We brought out
natural tri-field,
the regular tri-field. We brought out the digital electrosmog and the electrosmog.
Yep.
Anything that can detect radio frequencies, we specifically brought the week after.
Yep.
What happens?
Nothing.
Dead
Nothing.
quiet. Dead quiet. So, I mean, that really leads us, at least for this, that something, possibly happened. I mean, everything else was quiet. We didn't catch any EVPs. We didn't catch any photographs. We didn't have any of that stuff. But, like, personal experience with just that in itself was really crazy. Like, we were kind of like going nuts over it. Just trying to figure out, why is this happening? Why is it? Because it's not just about paranormal. You got to debunk what you're looking at first. And it's whenever you're left with no rational explanation that you start leaning into the world of the paranormal. And that's exactly where we feel this led us, that, and at least I do personally, because of that. Because we were so quick to go back that Thursday. I mean, it wasn't even a full week. We're talking 4 days later, we're back in there. So it was definitely an interesting vacation. Yeah, it's a vacation. That's my vacation, guys. It was definitely an interesting investigation because of the personal experiences and things like that. I don't know. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, that was a pretty intense one for me. I had personal experience-wise, and I know we felt like anytime, because we were in the cemetery, and I know when we were talking about leaving the cemetery or actually going to the cemetery, like go over to the garden, that's when we felt like stuff was happening too.
Right.
And I know at one point, as I was walking through the gate out of the cemetery, out of the blue, I got really nauseous and lightheaded, and that doesn't usually happen to me. You know, I don't have that kind of reaction normally. That was weird. And then as we walked, there was like a big tree there, and if you go around the tree, that goes towards the garden. As we were walking that way, right in my ear, I heard a female voice go, "No," like clear as day. I mean, and I don't believe were there any female investigators that night?
No.
I don't think there were. So, I mean, there was no rational explanation for that. It was definitely female. It was definitely right in my ear, and to me, that felt like whatever was there didn't want us leaving the cemetery, or didn't want us going to the garden, or a combination of the two. That
felt
was
like,
how I took it.
Yeah, it felt like it. Like, yeah, I definitely feel like it didn't want us in the garden for some reason, which is why we went in there. And it was weird because, like, I remember, weren't we at one end and we thought we saw something on the other end, and you and me went like running towards the other end to try and like find out what the hell was going on. I think at this point it's just me and Mike. There's no camera on us. Just like, who was on the camera? I can't even remember. I think James was behind the camera. He was recording you guys, and so you guys were at base talking about whatever you were talking about. It was definitely one of the weirder ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was our 23rd, 24th investigation, 25th investigation. We've been there a lot of times.
24 times.
Yeah. So, I don't know, Mike. What do you think about Sag Manor?
SAG.
Long
I'm
history.
going to try not to be biased with SAG. Sagtakos Manor, one of the first times I was ever there, is where I caught my first shadow person experience. It was cool because it was a shared experience. It wasn't just me. Back then in 05, a lot different look. The garden was not what you see, what it is today. You walked in and it was brush. There was like, when you walk in, you can either go to the left or to the right. And if you went to the left, there was a lot of brush. There was like 3 small little pathways leading to the fence into this, what we call the gazebo area. But it was all brush, like it was really thick. And I remember each one of us took a path and we were walking towards that fence, and we saw 7 foot tall shadow person. And we froze and we're like, yo, do you see that? And we all look and we're like, get it! We charged. I'll never forget, me and Mosen, we literally charged this thing. And I had the video camera. And when you get to the end, there's a lot of brush. So he like got through the brush, and I tossed him the video camera, and as he got through and he looked at the gazebo, there's this little white fence he saw it like open, and whatever this thing was went to the left. So he kind of went outside, looked at it, and back then, everything's cleared out now. Back then, there was so much brush, you couldn't just walk through.
Yeah.
So he comes back, and as we're walking back, we're talking to the team, and somebody sees a shadow figure walk past the opening to the garden, which would have made sense if it went that way.
Right.
So that was a personal experience. You know, we've captured quite a few EVPs. I want to say, since we've been there, maybe 15 EVPs. Good stuff though, Class A, intelligent.
We have that floating orb experience above there, above the gardens.
It's crazy because I think the second time, the third time we were there, there was this girl in the group, her name was Sarah, and I remember she saw what she described as a floating head. And those walls are not low.
No,
they're a good
6.5,
7 feet tall. She saw what looked like just a head above that walking and disappeared. So you have that. You have our evidence caught. The equipment that night, I don't have an explanation for that. I cannot explain that. And we try to debunk this stuff away.
Yeah.
We have 22 field reports that says this doesn't happen.
Right.
We went back less than a week later. Nothing happened. So if it was a radio tower, it would have set this off at least.
It was something, yeah.
So I'm glad we did that. You know, I used to hang out with a girl and she had a kid. And they were from a different state. And we were doing day trips. We went there. And her daughter was, we thought she was sensitive. Because she would see things. She was young. She was like 5 or 6 years old. We're just chilling at SAG, hanging out. And she goes, I see a man on the porch. He's wearing a blue coat. 5-year-old girl isn't going to say that. She's going to say he's wearing pink, flashy colors. No. So how would she know that?
Right.
You know, it makes sense with Washington,
American
Union of Revolution, you know, like, interesting, you know. I don't know. I would say there's just been so much over the years. We have evidence to back it up. We have a lot of personal experiences. Now you have equipment going on.
This was a big one.
I'm like I said, I may be biased, but Sag Manor is home. I would say that. Not negative by any means. I would go there and investigate myself.
Oh yeah.
I would go there by myself any given day. I might get freaked out if all this stuff starts going off, but yeah, I definitely think there's a lot going on there. I mean, there was one of the first times we were there, probably in 05, 06, within 5 times. I remember being in the cemetery, and when you walk into the cemetery, it's a small cemetery. Small, like I guess you could picture it as like a rectangle, more of a rectangle than a square. Small. You know, it's not. Maybe it's if you walk in straight to the back fence is maybe 12 feet.
Yeah,
and the sides from side to side is what, maybe 25 feet? It's not big, it's small. And I remember we walked in, we went to the left, and it was me, Cheryl, and I think it was either Mike or Mosen. And we were there, and we were standing kind of in the middle area, facing the back fence. And we all felt the pressure drop. I mean, we felt it in our nose, you felt it in your ears. Prior to that, we didn't have a barometer. That's what caused us to buy a barometer. And we felt all that. And Cheryl's like, I feel like we should go closer to the back fence. So we walk closer to the back fence, and we get an EVP that says, come closer. So this is stuff that, like, it's just too much a coincidence, you know, that we captured there. I love the place. I think it's great. We've been there 24 times. I'm going to go back another 24 times.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
for sure.
And the crazy thing is, we've never investigated inside the house. This
No,
is
we're
just
only on the
outside.
property. Only on the property.
So I can only imagine what goes on inside that house. I can only imagine if that's what the
I
outside
didn't
is.
think of just like
Man.
the antiques they have in there.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
stuff.
they also have a memorial of like an unknown Indian princess grave, and that's from the tribe. Supposedly, the story that goes with that, why they have that there, is back then, I guess Indians kind of knew about storms. They knew a lot about weather, and she went. You know, you talk about Bayshore, where Sagtakos Manor is located. It's not far from the South Shore. It's within 10-minute drive.
Oh, yeah.
She felt that there was a storm coming, a hurricane, and she left, and she supposedly warned a lot of the townspeople to evacuate or take cover. And this is where the story kind of dies out, and who knows what really happened. But supposedly she never made it back because she was warning everyone. Like, her body's not actually buried there, but they put a memorial because she helped so many people, and you know, that's one of the stories of why that's there. Like I said, it's something I'd like to do a lot more research with and find out as much as we possibly can about that person. If that is the case, what is her name?
Right.
You know, instead of saying unknown, you're like, that sucks. You know, like that person should really be recognized a lot more.
Right.
But
Well,
great location.
no, they
You
have
know,
the
it's
records.
one of my favorite to go to because, like I said, especially if you're able to investigate the house, you got the house, the carriage house in the back, you got the grounds, the garden, the cemetery. I mean, you got it all
So
in
much.
one, man.
I know.
You got it all in one. So,
So it's all your favorite
you
places.
know, if I could pick like
there's
one
a wood.
location-
There's woods back there. You
got
can walk
everything.
through the
And they say,
pathways.
supposedly, I don't know how true this is, but one of our old investigators, this was many years ago, was doing a tour, and they supposedly found that there was a slave cemetery back there as well. So, but we've tried looking for
We've
it,
never found that,
and
yeah.
supposedly they were trying to get funding for restoration. I'm going to look more into it because if that is the case, that needs to also be highlighted.
Oh,
I
for
feel
sure.
like that
Oh, for
really
sure.
adds to the location. So, you know, we'll definitely, if we do find more information, we'll let everyone know about
Yeah.
that. But great location. If you are in the island and can visit it, check out Sag Manor. It's Sagtakos Manor. It's in Bayshore. Great location.
Yeah.
So
Definitely take the tour.
definitely take a tour.
All right, guys. So, what do you think about this episode? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, you can give this video a like, share, and subscribe. You can also click the little notification bell to when all of our content is uploaded to YouTube. So, thank you for joining us on this latest edition of LIPI Presents, the Real Ghost Hunting Reveal Show. And until next time, guys, take care.